It's Friday, May 18th, and you're listening to The Geek at Geek News Central, show number 766, sponsored in part by GoDaddy.com. Geek News Central is a proud member of the Tech Podcast Network. Hey, everyone, got a great show lined up for you. Tell you what, it was kind of a rough start tonight. Every machine in this room was possessed, so I'm crossing my fingers. You know what comes next. Strap in. Here it comes.
All right, people, I need a go, no-go for the Geek News Central podcast. Digital archive recorders.
Go flight.
Microphone.
Go flight.
Video feed.
Go.
Web browser.
Go.
RSS data stream aggregator.
Go flight.
Interflux Toddism suppressor.
All right. I'm confused.
Host readiness check.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
The Geek News Central podcast is a proud member of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to go. Cue Todd in
5,
Who's got the button?
4,
There is no cause for alarm.
3,
Everybody hold on to something.
2,
Just press the button.
1.
Aloha and welcome to Geek News Central, coming to you as live as it can be from the beautiful state of Hawaii via the Geek News Central studio overlooking Honolulu. Hey everyone, my name is Todd Cochran. Of course, I want to welcome you to the show. Thanks for being here, and I'm actually glad to be here tonight. It was like, all right, you're all ready to go, got plenty of time, blue screen of death on one machine. Next thing I know, I was getting like program failures on another. Third machines tried to hit stream and it was saying, no, I don't want to connect. And so reboot. And then it all came back and it was healthy, I guess. So, boy, oh boy, I don't know what's happening here, but it's just one of those nights. But if you're new to the show, thanks for being here and thanks for checking us out. Make sure you, of course, take some time and get over to Geek News Central because we've got lots of great content over there. And, of course, this is where you'll want to go to get subscribed to the show. And it's a piece of cake. Once you're over there, you'll find in the second column of the website links to all of our shows, Geek News Central, Saturday Morning Tech, The Gadget Professor, Robot Underpants, The Chrome Show. Of course, you'll want to subscribe to this show here, GNC, as well as you're at the website. You want to get basically sign up for the newsletter. And the newsletter really is your way of staying abreast of everything that's happening here. And you'll definitely want to stay connected with us. When I send out the newsletter, it contains all the links to all the stuff I'm going to talk about during the show tonight, all the tech articles and everything else that goes along with the show. I'm going to make a small adjustment here. I see it looks like we're just a little hot coming out of the system tonight. And so I want to, looks like someone has turned up the volume a little bit. So we'll turn it down there just a little bit so that we're not pushing so high into the red. There we go, a little better. But what I do want to know is make sure that you get over to gncshownotes.com. That's where we're putting all the show notes for the show. And of course, you can find a link to that within the webpage at Geek News Central as well. And we basically did that to take care of make sure Google wasn't going to penalize us any more than they did in a recent update. And so we're starting to gain some of our traffic back from that escapade little by little. So I'm pleased that I think it's being effective in what we've had to do. So, of course, you can watch the show later on Google TV, on Samsung Smart TV. You can watch on your Roku or your Boxy. And, of course, you can find us in iTunes, in the Zune Marketplace and so forth. Completely out of whack tonight on getting started here at the show, but we'll muddle through. I want to take care of a little business here to start off with, and want to thank our sponsors at GoDaddy.com. GoDaddy's got great products and services. Of course, you can pick up domain names, web hosting, you name it. We got a couple of good deals going on this month. If you're a new customer and you've never basically signed up for an account, or if you sign up for a new account, you'll get 25% off your entire order by using promo code 25May3. Or if you're an existing customer and you want to sign up for a hosting account, you can use the promo code NAB. That'll save you some cash as well. If you come over to the Geek News Central website, you'll find a link on the website that says GNC promo codes. You'll be able to get access to all the codes that I have available. Geek 5 will save you 15% on any order $20 or more. Todd will save you 10% off. I was testing all these codes here a couple of days ago because some people have been complaining that they have not been working. And all the codes, from what I can see, are all working well. So definitely make sure you take some time and when you're getting ready to check out to use the codes and save money over at GoDaddy. One thing I noticed when tonight as I was scrolling through the website is that when the Gadget Professor posted his last show, it appears that he has left something. He's got some formatting in there that's making the whole front page of the website black, or actually not black, but definitely in a looks like it's bolded. So I have to go through and fix that when we get down with the show tonight. All kinds of things hit me left and right. Well, we're going to be doing Saturday morning tech, and hopefully we won't be having these many issues. And of course, we had a contest here on the last show, and I'm going to pick a winner right now. We have a stack of listeners, and what we're going to give away on this particular giveaway is we're going to give away an iPad Nano, actually no, small iPad or iPod, and Steve Jensen sent me, and actually sent this via LinkedIn, of all places. So Steve Jensen is my winner tonight. Did a little randomizer here. Let me write his name down. Actually, let me just star his email. So Steve Jensen is the winner tonight on the giveaway. And what we're going to have at the end of the show tonight is I'll have within the show notes a new, just a little mini survey for you to fill out if you want to participate in the next giveaway. And of course, this past contest, what it was involved is you had to send me comments and telling me, give me some feedback. And I want to thank everyone that sent in their comments. Basically, tell me where you listen to the show and how you listen to the show. And the responses were pretty varied. People say we're walking to work. Some people say during their commute, listening via one person said listening via his iTouch over his Ford Sync. Another person said he uses Zune. So it's a variety of different devices. Some folks say they were listening at work. Other folks said that that basically it comes to them late in the afternoon, depending on based on the time zone that they're in. And so some folks are listening on a train. I know we've had people down in Antarctica listening to the show as well, out on the ice, which is cool. I think that's pretty awesome. But a lot of feedback on where you're listening to the show, a variety of different places, and a fair number of you actually kicking back and watching on your Roku or your Boxy, your Samsung Smart TV, which was good. So we'll give away another prize on the next show. And again, there'll be a survey that'll be linked in the show notes. All you got to do is, I think I'll have 3 or 4 questions on there. Answer the survey questions. And when you do, send me an email back. We'll just register you right in the survey. So you just put your name and your email address in there, and we'll pick the winner that way. So let me just give you guys a quick update on what's happening with my schedule. I fly out Saturday night for Washington, D.C. I'll be doing shows Monday and Thursday with the new mobile broadcast system. I'll talk about that here in a second because I've got a surprise for everyone on that. If I can meet the UPS truck tomorrow, it'll happen. So be 2 shows in Washington, D.C. Be back here in Honolulu the following week for 2 shows then. So what I'm actually looking for is I'm looking for a guest host for the following week, the week of June 4th. So I'm going to be reaching out to my TPN folks, and we may have 2 guest hosts in for the week of the 4th while I'm on some travel that week, which is going to be hard for me to do a show. If we don't get a guest host, then I'll put one together from where I'm going to be at. But what I've done is, many of you saw the write-up that I had on my new mobile broadcast studio, and I made some change. I added something to it, and it's really, really cool. And essentially what I'm going to be able to do is, for those of you that are watching the video right now, I think I figured out a way to be able to show this while I'm actually using the mobile system, and be able to show the different, just like we do here with the regular in the regular studio, being able to show different article pages and so forth. It'll be a little bit trickier. I don't know how well I'm going to be able to manhandle it from a eye-hand coordination thing and keep talking, because it's almost it's not as easy of me just hitting a button here and making it happen. So definitely a little bit of training on my part to get it down and make it happen. But should be fun having the new studio on the road and see how that performs. The green screen has not arrived, so we probably will not be green screening it unless I can figure out a way to rig something up. Because the new green screen actually has a little tripod fold out where it can actually stand up behind me, and I don't have to worry about finding a place in the hotel room to hang basically a green drape. So anyway, so this first road trip until the other piece comes in probably will not be green screen. So Sam, will have to save you a surprise to a follow-on trip, but don't worry, it's I have that image, and I am prepared to use it. So I'm hoping, and we'll see, who knows, maybe FedEx will deliver that thing before I'm on the go. So I guess that's it. Again, to Enterprise on the next show, all you have to do is to fill out the survey. It'll be up, link in the show notes. Again, congratulations to Steve Jensen for the win on the iPod Nano tonight. Congratulations for him. So we've given away, I think, 4 Apple TVs, or 3 Apple TVs maybe, and now 2 iPod Nanos. We're going to keep giving away stuff all the way through the end of May. This is basically my listener appreciation month for folks that have tuned in and are part of the Ohana here and put up with my antics. That's for sure. But let's go ahead and get into the tech content tonight. I got a good stack for you tonight before anything else draconian happens here, and I end up screaming in defeat. But one thing I've been playing around with is I oftentimes go through when I'm getting ready to do this show, and I'm using Google Reader, and I have a set of number of sites I go through and I look at, and then I just star all of them, and then later on I come back and load those all up in Chrome at one time. Well, Chrome has a big memory issue when you're just like loading page. It just, after like 25 links, it just dies. And it's a little bit aggravating, to be honest with you, because you have to close Chrome down, and you have to shut it down once and then let it restart and repopulate all those pages because it's kept it in the cache. And then you can look in the memory stack and you can see where it's subdivided across the different cores on the machine I'm using. It's just a weird thing, and it drives me nuts because it actually probably wastes about 10 minutes dealing with Chrome. So I might be going back to Firefox. We'll have to see if Firefox can handle these tabs any better than Chrome will be able to. So, of course, today's the big day for the folks at Facebook. They announced their IPO price of $38 a share. This is going to be probably one of the most important IPOs ever from a tech perspective, and this is it's going to be huge. So and we're curious to see how this all ends up tomorrow at the end of trading, but 421,233,615 shares of its common stock is going to be up for grabs at a price to the public of $38. And again, it's going to trade under the NASDAQ under FB. And it's also offering 180 million shares of the Class A common stock, and they're selling stockholders offerings of 241 million shares. So there's just all kinds of stuff that's going to be rolling here, but this is going to be huge, and I'd like to see what the price is at the end of the day. I'm predicting 44. I think is what I'm going to predict. I think I made a prior prediction, but we'll see if 44 is what it closes at tomorrow. But a whole bunch of billionaires, millionaires are being made tomorrow, and nothing like the good old American entrepreneur spirit to make it happen. And congratulations to everyone over at Facebook that had stock invested. And, it's not only the money these guys are earning, and the valuation of this company, but, if you look at the Facebook infrastructure per se, they've got 100 petabytes. Yes, 100 petabytes of users' photos and videos. It's over 666 billion items. They've got 30 plus petabytes of just user data alone, which just basically your name, your age, your birthplace, your friends. They've had they're planning on spending between 1.6 and 1.8 billion dollars in infrastructure spending in 2012. Now Google normally spends about $2 to $4 billion a year, and the overall server market was estimated at 52.3 billion in 2011. And the Facebook's Open Compute project is trying to take that market and flip it on its head, and how servers are built and sold at at the scale that they need them. And so it's crazy because they're going to get ready to turn on a new data center, and they have like 30 days to revision and bring online tens of thousands of new servers. And it only took them that many days when they brought up their new data center. And that's just unheard of. It really, really is. But they estimate that Google is managing about 60,000 or more servers in their cluster, which is an incredible number. So really the question is Facebook worth $100 billion? I guess we don't know, but one thing's for sure. There's going to be a lot of money moving in the market tomorrow. This is all new. What's being taken, what's going to get impact? Where's money going to get pulled out of? Because, unless this is all fresh money coming in, unless this is, people are making new investments, something's got to give one way or the other. So it's going to be, it'll be fun to watch this. That's for sure. Now, along with that, there's been a little bit of disheartening news. And if you guys have been following this, one of the early co-founders of Facebook, who doesn't have an active role anymore, Eduardo Saverin, is, boy, oh boy, he's become the whipping boy of not only the U.S. Senate, but many tech articles and many things that are wrong with people that are basically rescinding their citizenship. So essentially what he's done is he moved to Singapore, and he's lived there since 2009. He's due to, he actually gave up his citizenship back in 2011, late 2011. So what's going to happen is he's in a better tax advantage being offshore. And people feel he could have an advantage of $60 to $70 million that he doesn't have to pay Uncle Sam in taxes, based that he's no longer a citizen of the United States. So, here is the dilemma. You've got politicians saying, you took all this time, you spent time, and you're profiting from business that was generated in the United States. And now when it comes time to pay your tax bill, you're gonna bail and say, oh, I don't want to be a citizen, or I don't want to play. I don't know where I really sit with this. I mean, at one point I'm like, pay your fair share. And the other point is, well, the laws are such that he's taking advantage of it. But Democrat Senator Charles Schumer and Bo Casey are behind what they're introducing called the Ex-Patriot Act. It's a proposal that's going to go after early Facebook backer Edward Saverin and others like him that have renounced U.S. citizenship and are getting out of paying capital gains tax on their stock windfalls. Now, this is pretty big. Any expat with a net worth of $2 million or an average income tax liability of at least $148,000 over the last 5 years, who have renounced their citizenship for tax avoidance purposes, this new expat bill they're going to have to demonstrate to the IRS that, hey, they weren't doing this to escape tax evasion. But what they're going to do is they're going to make it retroactive 10 years. They're going to say, if you left the country and basically renounce citizenship, specifically to avoid paying capital gains tax, tough luck. They're going to rescind that part of the law. They're going to try to. And if this tax law goes through, what they're going to do is they're going to backdate for 10 years. So Last year, there was about 1,200 people. Now, this tells you, we're a huge country, right? And yet only 1,200 people renounced their citizenship. So the question that they're really asking is those 1,200, were they the ultra rich? Were they the ones that left the country? Actually, 1,780 people gave up their passports in 2011 as compared to 235 in 2008. So currently, though, if people have been found to have given up their passports for tax reasons, they can still come back to the U.S. for up to 60 days a year, every year, and thousands do. But with this new law, they're going to be barred from entering the United States. They are going to basically say, if you said no and you don't want to pay your fair share of taxes, well, you can't come home no more. They're going to put a ban on you for like 10 years or something. So this is, to me, I'm just like, wow. And they're going for the jugular. But, at the same point, a lot of people are doing this. They're leaving the country to avoid paying taxes. Now, there's a lot of outrage being directed at him, and a lot of people are demanding that this guy be held to pay the piper. So, I don't know. I'd love to hear what you guys think on this one. But they have definitely got the attention of the U.S. Senate. And here's a quote from, and I don't know who made this quote, but it says, "It's infuriating to see someone sell out the country that welcomed him and kept him safe, educated him, and helped him become a billionaire. This is a great American success story gone horribly wrong. We plan to put a stop to this tax avoidance scheme. There should be no financial gain for renouncing your country." And he has to say, he says, "My decision to expatriate was based solely on my interest in working and living in Singapore, where I've been since 2009. I'm obligated to and will pay hundreds of millions of dollars in taxes to the U.S. government. I paid and will continue to pay my taxes due on everything I earned while a U.S. citizen. Unfortunate that my personal choice has led to a public debate based not on the facts, but entirely on speculation and misinformation." But he wasn't saying this before the senators came out and said, "We're going after you." So the State Department declined comment, but they're very specific about who it keeps out of the country, especially when it involves prosecution of former citizens. What they say is it needs evidence that someone intended to avoid paying financial obligations previously incurred in the United States, and that goes under U.S. Code. And he says, basically it says within the U.S. Code governing visa eligibility, it says any alien, in other words, someone that's not a U.S. citizen, who is a former citizen of the United States who officially renounced United States citizenship and who is determined by the attorney to have renounced United States citizenship for the purpose of avoiding taxation by the United States is excludable. In other words, you can't come in. So maybe that's already in the list. But here's the thing. Unless this guy has been so ignorant to have written something saying that he was trying to scam the government, they may not have a case. But at the same point, I'm sure he has very good lawyers, tax lawyers. And, if you're going to be a billionaire, you're already paying several $100 million in taxes to pay your fair share of that windfall. If you can save 60 or 70 million, that a lot of people would leave the country for that. But I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on this, geeknews@gmail.com. All right, Comcast customers, we're going to switch topic here. Comcast customers, congratulations. Comcast has capitulated on data caps, and but at the same time, it's kind of, shucking and jiving on net neutrality. They've decided that they're going to raise your broadband cap to 300 gigs. And basically said after that, if you go over the 300 gigs, you're going to have to pay an additional $10 for each 50 gigs you use. So I think, okay, so 50 gigs. Let me see here. Let's think about that for a second here. And if we just do the basic math on this, and we do 50 divided by 10, obviously what we end up with is $5 per gig, right? So what really is the case here is they're paying at most maybe 3 to, let's say, 5 cents. Look at that markup. That's still a huge markup from from a cost standpoint. So even though Comcast is going to give you that extra 50 gigs on your cap, if you go over by 50 gigs, they're going to want you to pay that $10. So here we are. Once again, we're hearing about data caps. And even though they're going to give you a little more, they've added a new fee in there instead of shutting you off. This is interesting. But, what Comcast doesn't talk about is essentially their throttling. And Netflix and the folks over at a variety of other places are level 3, which is a big backbone provider, are saying, hey, there's some monkey business going on. Netflix says increasing the data cap is a small step in the right direction, but unfortunately, Comcast continues to treat its own internet-delivered video differently under the cap than other internet-delivered video. We continue to stand by the principle that the ISP should treat all providers of video services equally. Now, this is, of course, in relation to their Xfinity.TV, their on-demand TV service, which you don't incur any bandwidth on when you're using it through Comcast. The folks over at level 3 is saying that the backbone internet provider is still prioritizing traffic of its own. So what they looked at was throughput on non-congested, when there was no congestion being seen on the network. Xfinity was being delivered at 4 megs per second when it was not congested. And when it was congested, they were delivering at 3.8 megs per second, as compared to Netflix non-congested was about 3.4. I don't know, someone's yelling. I guess it's the neighbor kid. 3.4 megabits per second on Netflix, but when it got congested, guess whose bandwidth was really slowing down? Netflix was only getting about 1.2, 1.3 as compared to 3.8 on Comcast. So level 3 says that while there are a number of factors that can influence download performance for internet traffic, it appears to them that Xfinity consistently gets good performance in both congested and uncongested tests, while Netflix traffic is significantly impaired when the home connection is congested. These results seem to be consistent with the practice of prioritization. Of course, that goes against the rules. Now, here's the important thing. Remember, Comcast, when they made their big deal, when they made their deal to buy MSNBC, they basically we're told, hey, we're going to play fair. We're not going to give our traffic priority. So this is violating its terms with this merger with NBC. And so again, here you got Comcast that is basically, we'll give you a little more bandwidth, but we're going to charge you for some more. And then it's being shown that they're throttling or giving more priority to their local traffic. I don't know about you, but, when something like this, it's got an awful smell to it to me. It smells like they're doing something that they shouldn't be. Hey, if you got comments on today's show, you can Twitter me at Geek News. You can email me geeknews@gmail.com. Of course, you can call our voicemail hotline at 619-342-7365. We always love your comments and your commentary when you call and drop us a line. And, make sure you get over to Geek News Central and check all our great content. We got lots of great writers there putting together lots of great content. Now, we talked about Netflix just a few minutes ago, talking about their essentially disgust with Comcast. But the Netflix folks have been making some announcements. Netflix clocked close to 42. Check this out. Listen to this number. 42 billion API requests in January. That's staggering 42 billion API requests in 1 month alone. That's a billion plus a day. So that means, think about that. Now, what an API request is you're on your iPhone, you're on your iPad, you're on your Roku, you're on your Wii, you're on whatever device you have, which all of them have Netflix on, and you go and you search through the menu and you select a movie or you do a search. That's an API call. So in 2 years, in January 2010, they had less than a billion, 600 million API transactions. In January of 2011, they had 20.7 billion per month. And then January 2012, 41.7 billion. That's amazing. That's an amazing number of people on PS3, on the Xbox, on Roku that are basically looking for movies to watch. That is just incredible. Absolutely incredible. Someone get this show on Netflix. Molly Wood over at CNET. I should have covered this when I was talking about Comcast. She has a pay-per-use bandwidth, not without some ground rules. This is a great write-up by what's going on with unlimited Verizon, tiered Verizon, unlimited AT&T, tiered AT&T, the type of bandwidth people are using, talks about the cost. There's a whole bunch of stuff in here that basically come down to 2 or 3 different things. Number one, basically bandwidth caps are not widely out of step with people's actual needs. 250 to 300 gigs is pretty close to what I think probably a lot of people use. Sadly, though, Comcast had still reserved the right to shut people off. There still looks to me like there's still price gouging going on when it comes to mobile. And then there's the throttling that goes on with AT&T Mobile. And then, we still need to really look at these fair play and net neutrality things. There's a lot of stuff going on that if we don't stay on top of as customers, they're going to make their own rules and push as far as they can until someone whacks them back. All right. He let me, that one's kind of out of sequence here in the articles tonight. All right, let me talk just a few minutes about a memo that has come out of the Justice Department, and this is a big one. And this was over at arstechnica.com. Matter of fact, I like their new website design very much. Matter of fact, I like it so much, I might steal it at some point, or steal components of this design. But the Justice Department defends the public's constitutional right to record law enforcement. The DOJ sent a letter to the attorneys for the Baltimore Police Department because they're getting ready to settle with some people that the Baltimore Police Department, BPD, was a little bit overzealous with. But this is a pretty surprising letter sent to the attorneys for the Baltimore Police Department. The Justice Department strongly asserted, now get this, strongly asserted the officers who seize and destroy recordings without a warrant or without due process are in strict violation of our 4th and 14th Amendment rights. The letter was also sent to the police department as it prepares for a meeting to discuss a settlement. And Christopher Sharp in 2010 had his camera taken and stuff removed from it. And but what's interesting here is that last year, the BPD, Baltimore Police Department, published a general order for officers explaining that members of the public have a right to record their activity in public, but the Justice Department said in its 11-page letter this week that the order did not go far enough and pointed out several areas where it should clarify and assert more strongly the rights that individuals possess. Now check this out. It says the right to record police officers in the public discharge of their duties was essential to help engender public confidence in our police departments, promote public access to information necessary to hold government officers accountable, and ensure public and officer safety, wrote Jonathan Smith, head of the Justice Department's Special Litigation Section. I'm going to be honest with you. This is like the first thing that's come out of the Department of Justice that is actually protecting our rights. Finally, we have someone standing up and saying, hey, enough. Municipalities, Don't be taking cameras. Don't be removing stuff. So this is happening in Baltimore. Is this going to be effective across the rest of the country? I think it should send a very strong message if the DOJ is willing to send this out to BPD. This is awesome. What we do have to realize, too, the individual cases don't necessarily fall underneath the Justice Department's jurisdiction. And they did admit that the suppression of speech was a national problem that had to be addressed at the federal level. So maybe we're going to get, the thing is, what I get worried about is they sent this out. Now some congressman is going to say, well, should we really let them record police officers? Maybe we ought to put a law into effect that doesn't allow the general public to film our police officers. I can just see some congressional reps, with everything else that goes on, we'll see where this goes. But at least someone in the DOJ has had the foresight to say, hey, you're trampling on U.S. citizens' rights. Now, I know that we have a lot of listeners outside the United States, and I would really love to hear, how does filming police officers or, you justice of the peace or whatever you guys call them in your areas, Mounties, wherever you may be, what's your rules? Can you film them without getting beat up with a billy club? I'd really love to hear from people outside the United States, because I know there's different laws, different different rights and so forth. But at least here in the U.S., this is fantastic. Now, I got a MacBook Pro sitting underneath the desk here. Matter of fact, it's in work right now, recording the master copy of this show. TriCaster's doing the same thing, but we use that as a backup. But MacBook Pro fans have launched a Facebook campaign to say, hey, we want an upgrade. And we want a new MacBook Pro. Oh, sad thing is only 54 people have liked it. And I was like, it only has 54 likes? Is there that few people that don't want an upgrade to a Mac Pro? I'll be honest with you. They're not cheap machines. They do a fantastic job. Oh, ever since the article's been put up on the web, ever since the Gizmodo article, it went from 54 to 1,486. So I guess they maybe need a little exposure. And so anyway, I guess they have a few more, but still only 1,486. If you have a Mac Pro and you're looking for a new one, and you're looking to upgrade, because the one underneath my desk, I don't think it's, I think it's the latest model, and I've had this for a while. There's a Facebook campaign. You can go over and put a like on the page. I'll just go ahead and I'll hit it right there myself while we're talking about it. And 1,487 now, and if the page will reload. But anyway, I couldn't afford to buy another one right now if I wanted to. It's after buying the portable studio, or building that, we're back in a budget for a while. All right, moving on here to a new topic. Talking about iPad activations across the United States. Apparently, Hawaii's on top. Right now, Hawaii is leading the country in percent of new iPad activations at 17.719%, followed by California. This is an article that's over at GigaOM, followed by California, Nebraska, there's Columbia, Delaware, New Jersey, Florida, Texas. And I'm thinking, Nebraska? Why Nebraska? Well, Nebraska's got a pretty good program going on right now, state program for getting gadgets into the state public education system. So that's amazing. But this month, at least, here in Aloha Land, Pineapple Land, and here in Hawaii, we're on the top of the heap on number of new activations. I think people come here. See, there's a whole bunch of Apple stores here. Number one, number two, People go to the beach, they're coming here to kick back, and they want to read the news and stuff on the beach. So I'm sure that has something to do with it. I'm sure a lot of the iPads leave on airplanes, heading back to the continental United States. All right, let's talk about those of you that are expecting a child or have a new kid, a new member in your family. There's an article run over at yahoo.com, and I'm like, wow, there's actually news on Yahoo. So here's 15 current technologies that are being predicted that a child born today will never use. Number 1, wired home internet. Huh? Probably true. Dedicated cameras and camcorders. Yeah, because everyone's going to have it in their smartphones. Landline phones. Potentially. Slow booting computers. Boy, I'm glad those days are pretty much gone. Windowed operating systems. So, in other words, this is, we're going to be more an Appville. Here's another one that's kind of interesting. Hard drives, because, kid born today, probably everything by the time he gets old enough will be in solid states. Kid born today may not be going to a movie theater. They may not use the mouse. They may not ever have to use a 3D glass. They may not ever have to use remote control. It might be right in their phone. Folks may not have phone numbers. They may be using Skype or Google Talk or something like that. Primetime television. Yep, that's definitely going away. Fax machines. I got one over here, and I can't remember the last time I sent a fax. I use it to scan. It's a fax, scan, print. I use it to scan documents and email them. We don't fax nothing anymore. And optical disc. Are we going to be using DVDs when, kids born today get older? Probably not. So 15 current technologies a child born today will likely never use. Now, there's a great article on dcurt.is, and I have never read this guy's blog post today, but here's a privacy thing I want to make you aware of. Twitter is tracking you on the web. And here's what's going on. The Twitter ecosystem is receiving visit information when sites have integrated Twitter buttons or widgets similar to what you may find on like LinkedIn or Facebook. Every time you see a Twitter link, those Twitter links are calling home to mama and giving information to Twitter about you. And so basically, every time you visit a site that has a follow button, retweet this, Twitter's recording your behavior. It's transparently watching your movements, and of course, going to be giving you suggestions to your account at some point or selling that data. So this is not particularly surprising because data is probably worth as much as anything else that they have over there. So, but to just beware, Twitter be tracking you. All right. I saw something today that I'm going to tell you. Those of you that are working government or maybe are still in the military, or you have a business where data is very critical and you worry about that compromise, there is simply an amazing new hard drive out. It's called RunCore. Its debut is the world's first self-destructing solid-state drive, and it literally self-destructs. You press the green button, and it just writes FFF over every partition. It basically makes it completely erased. Or if you press the green button, it actually smoke checks it. It actually sends a high surge of current through, and it literally smokes. You watch this video. I can't play it because they're going to whack me here for YouTube. But if you look at this video, those of you that need secure stuff, this is remarkable. Now, I don't know where RunCore comes from. I don't know what country they originate in, if they're Taiwan or if they are, it says made in China. Now, this is kind of interesting. Here you've got a Chinese company making a solid state drive that self-destructs. Interesting. Makes you go, doesn't it? Well, anyway, if you think from a security standpoint, think from a government standpoint, It should make you go, a little bit. So we'll see if this gets any more news down the pipe. That's for sure. Iran, oh boy, they're just so nice in their communications with anyone in the West. But Iran is basically saying we're going to sue Google. We're going to sue Google for dropping the name Persian Gulf from its Google map. Apparently, when you go to Google Maps and you look at the area in and around Iran, which is, to me, I know it as the Persian Gulf, they took the name out. The Iranians are pissed. They're pissed that they removed it. Found this over on Forbes. Google says, hey, we don't put everything on the map. But anyway, the Iranians are threatening Google. So I'm sure they're really scared. Okay. All right, progress. And this is actually big. On Wednesday, Viacom finally reached an agreement with Time Warner, enabling the pay TV service provider to stream the media conglomerate's shows on iPads, notebook computers, smartphones, and other digital devices. So if you have the Time Warner streaming app that you can use in your home, you're now going to be able to watch Nickelodeon, MTV, Spike TV, Comedy Central. It's over the live stream. Let's see here. Nickelodeon, MTV, Spike TV, Comedy Central. No gain for me. So anyway, but for those of you who like those channels, it's now going to be available. And they've somehow come to an agreement. I'm sure Time Warner had to get their checkbook out. Now, along with that, 2 weeks ago, we know that Discovery Network paid about $30 million to acquire San Francisco-based Revision 3. Congratulations again. But apparently Turner Networks has revealed a significant partnership with online comedy producer Funny or Die. So under the terms of the deal, Turner paid an undisclosed sum to acquire about 10% of Funny or Die, which was formed in late 2006. So we'll see if any Funny or Die stuff makes it onto Turner's networks. But, here's an interesting thing. The movie studios, they typically pay about $500,000 to make an hour of scripted video. So we know that these groups, Funny or Die, are not spending $1 million to make an hour's worth of video content, or even $500,000. They're sitting in front of a camera and have a studio with a green screen, and they're doing their thing, and it's your production costs are very inexpensive. So maybe they're deciding, hey, we need to look at this model. Again, here you've got mainstream media buying access into content that, like I'm creating here. So very, very cool stuff. So we'll see where this leads. And anyone that wants to talk, we can talk about 11,000 shows we work with at Raw Voice. All right. How many of you ever been at a bar and got one of those fancy drinks that come in a shot glass? It has multicolors in it. They pour a little liqueur in, pour another one in, and you get this real pretty cocktail. Well, some folks have made a machine that basically does the pouring. It'll pour 4 shots at once. I'll have the link up in the show notes. You can watch the video, but it's not available for resale, but it's pretty cool what some bartenders came up with. Also, would you like to see a gun that shoots lightning rays? Oh, yeah. Over on Gizmo, this guy's made himself a Tesla gun, and it's really awesome. Lots of danger here, lots of pre-warnings. Don't build this at home, kids, without major adult supervision. And adults, make sure you get some adult supervision as well. But he documents how he built it. So if you want to get wild and crazy, you can make one yourself. But yeah, you have to have plenty of grounding areas, and you just don't shoot this thing in the air without thinking, but you're not going to get whacked yourself. So I have pretty cool stuff over on Gizmo. All right, this sounds to me like a next article. You guys are gonna laugh. All right, so just privately now, just between you and me, if there's no one else listening, You can raise your hand if there's people around that's listening. Look at your spouse and if you're there, you're all listening as a family. How many of you? How many have downloaded a file over peer-to-peer? Okay, so you're raising your hand or you're nodding internally, right? Okay. A new paper. Now, listen carefully. A new paper published by researchers at Missouri University of Science and Technology, it's revealing that people with depressive symptoms are more avid file sharers than those without them. Now, I'm not saying you're depressed or you need psychiatric care, but apparently this research was done among students whose connections to the campus network were monitored. And the researchers suggest that it might be a good idea to monitor people's file sharing habits for use as a psychology diagnostic tool. Okay, so if we go to the Missouri University of Science and Technology, I would just about bet that we could find in their donations or funding line, we can probably find a subsidiary of RIAA, MBAA, having funded this study. Now, why would anyone study people to find out they're more depressed because they're doing file sharing? Usually you're more happy because you got a video you couldn't watch otherwise, right? So just everyone out there, all the Ohana, if you're feeling depressed, quit file sharing. Oh, it just makes you wonder. It really, really does. All right, those of you that are traveling a lot, switching topics, obviously, I've got a pretty cool cable for you from thatsnotfunny.com. Link will be up in the show notes. One cable does it all. $20. You'll see it. You'll believe it. You'll want one. All right. Hey, do you guys live in let's see, in West Virginia? Well, apparently, the IT folks in West Virginia went out and bought hundreds of $22,000 enterprise-grade routers from Cisco, and then they placed those $22,000 routers into very tiny, small rural libraries with a couple of computers. Hundreds of these things are sitting in a warehouse, still waiting installation. The routers themselves were designed to serve as a branch office or a campus, be able to handle up to 500 computers. Were purchased as part of, now listen to this, as part of a $24 million contract paid for by, you guessed it, federal stimulus money doled out by the National Telecommunications and Information Administration. They bought they bought Cisco 3945 series routers, regardless of what the facility needed. So I guess someone at the NTIA, Senator Walden from Oregon, says, why did you spend that kind of money for a router for a library that may have needed $100 Cisco switch, $100 Netgear switch? What were you guys thinking? Oh, we plan for growth. That, my friends, is how our taxpayer dollars get spent by idiots. Idiots. Idiots, 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 idiots. I just wonder if the guy that made that purchase order, did he get a job at Cisco? You almost bet $24 million worth of routers being bought. You can absolutely be guaranteed, if you look at this closely, the guy that made that purchase order, he's now working for Cisco. Or someone else, some Cisco division, or he's got a new house or a new Hummer or something. Hey, the administration said, hey, West Virginia, we really got a good deal. We got discount pricing. Oh, my gosh. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? No wonder we're in debt. With idiots spending money like that, absolutely insane. Those people should be fired. And yes, it's irritating. Like it's like that $300 hammer that a $600 toilet seat, that Navy got accused of buying 20 years ago. I'm sure there's still some of that stuff going on. According to iTunes, jailbreak is a 4-letter word. Search for jailbreak and you don't find nothing. It's censored in iTunes. Just do it. Search for jailbreak. See what it comes up with, okay? All right, you know that U.S. automakers have until 2025 to raise the fuel economy on their cars and trucks to 54.5 miles per gallon, right? That's double the current standard. Well, it appears that the military is definitely thinking that, gas savings goes a long ways to reducing budget costs too. And they're actually got a development lab going on working to basically get better fuel economy out of their tanks. So they're going to be sharing that information with GM and other groups and hope that they'll take some tank technology and put it into our cars and vehicles so we get a little better gas mileage. All right, Oracle versus Google. Jury is grappling with tech terms and illness. I guess the jury in Oracle versus Google is facing some problems right now. They just don't understand some of the gobbledygook technology terms that is being put out. One of the things that they sent back to the judge, the jury said it was attempting to determine the scope and meaning of simulating execution of the bytecodes and U.S. patent number 6061520. They want to know if the existence of an example of the Android code not functioning when formatted in a normal simulation execution setting was permitted to be taken as evidence that Android's array initialization diverges from the patented array visualization. Can you imagine being a juror on this thing and being like, someone that doesn't know anything about technology and having to make a decision, a legal decision on something like that? I read that. I'm like, I got to read that 3 times, So Google, well, we can explain it to them. And of course, the folks at Oracle said, we can explain it to them. The jury come in and for 30 minutes. And here's the thing. That's what the judge did. He basically told them they have to figure it out themselves. He says, there are things I can give you further guidance on, such as if you're asked a question specific to one of my instructions. He explained the question goes to the weight of the evidence and how to evaluate it. So it's for them to decide. One juror nodded as Alsop spoke, and another one just hung his head with a grimace. Oh, man. I'm sure it's like fisticuff in that jury room. I can't even imagine. I cannot, because you're going to have someone there that thinks to know what the heck they're talking about. And I'm going to say, well, you see, and then they're going to have someone that is dumb as a box of rocks that's on that jury that is going to be like, I don't understand. Will you say that again? I'm sure of it. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? I saw the jury pool on the jury I was almost on, and I thought, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh my God. Because, it comes from all, and I don't say I'm a brainiac by any means, okay? I'm not saying that at all. But I'm going to tell you, there's sometimes you're like, you just look at a person and go, whoa. Oh, man. Hey, the Woz has got a new job. He's been hired as an advisor on Sony's Steve Jobs biopic. So basically, he's going to serve as a technical tutor on computers and will offer insight on the iconic chief himself for a Sony documentary that's going to be coming out, a movie biography. So Woz has got himself a job with Sony. Hey, Vermont, his band Fracking. So there you go. There's no more natural gas going to be coming out of the ground in Vermont. New York currently has a moratorium on fracking. You guys been paying attention to the price of fuel at the pump? Frack away. You've heard about this George Mason University professor who's last year successfully spoofed Wikipedia community of editors. I don't think that's probably hard to do. But this year, they tried to build a new scenario. and laid it all out. This big, they use some facts and fiction, and they mixed together to come up with a story to put on Wikipedia. And then when students posted the story to Reddit, the Reddit community tore it apart in like 20 minutes. Oh, it's 26 minutes for the Reddit community to cry foul. So you can fool some people some of the time, but most of the people, not all. How does that go? Yeah, you guys know what I'm saying. It's like say, some people are smarter than others. Obviously, I'm not on that end of the stick tonight. Okay. Hey, UK police roll out on-spot mobile data extraction systems. So, hey, you get pulled over by Metro Police in the UK, take your phone, they can suck stuff out of your phone right there on the spot. The system's been deployed to target phones that are actually suspected of having actually been used in a crime activity. That's what they tell you every time. Crime. All right. Hey, don't forget the launch Saturday. This is the first privately built spacecraft to the International Space Station. This is very exciting stuff. SpaceX is slated to launch its unmanned Dragon capsule to the space station on Saturday, May 19th from Cape Canaveral. Very early in the morning for Get Up and Watch. I'm going to be up late and watch it here. This is very good. Let's hope this baby makes it. I hope they have a successful launch. Because boy, I don't even want to say it. Let's go SpaceX. Go SpaceX. Over at the galaxy, brightest and largest galaxy supercluster in the universe discovered. So I have this link up in the show notes. Those of you that are into space clusters, I have that link for you. Article over on Engadget, the FCC wants to set aside some wireless spectrum for medical devices. So for those of us that are going to be, as we get older, or if we're having a medical condition that needs to have us wired up and communicating with our doctor or to a device or whatever it may be, they want to free up a small bit of a spectrum for medical devices. Time Warner confirmed HBO Go streaming is now available on Xbox 360, Samsung, and Roku as well. So if you have one of those devices, definitely load HBO Go. DirecTV is going to offer broadband to the boonies. In other words, you live out in the country, they're going to be teaming up with Viasat and Hughes satellite providers to provide broadband internet in a triple play package. So very, very cool stuff. So details are still scarce and pricing as well. But I think I have some cousins or some nieces and nephews, who are going to be leaving the world of big fat cable connection and moving to where my mom lives and moving into a new house and going to be in the country where bandwidth simply sucks. And I'm sure they're going to be looking at some new options there. A laser-toting MAV can find its way in tight spaces. This is pretty cool. Autonomous flight of UAVs inside buildings. Yeah, think about the applications there. So I'll have a link up in the show notes on that. Hey, KL wrote an article talking about Bing, the new Bing not being ready for prime time. So you got a couple articles up on that in GNC, so definitely check that out as well. Article over on Lifehacker. If you want the truth out of someone, don't call them, text them. Apparently, a new study shows that people are more likely to tell the truth in a text message than they are in phone calls. The study focused on 600 iPhone users and asked them questions about drinking habits, exercise, and other sensitive information over both phone and SMS. And basically, a higher percentage of people did not lie when they texted back, which is kind of a curious development. Maybe people had to think a little bit, say, that's not such a big deal. I don't have to fib on that one. All right, Verizon's Redbox service is going to be more like Netflix than TV Anywhere. So Verizon is obviously teamed up with the Redbox. We'll see what happens with this, but this summer, we're going to be starting to see some of the services made available. More details as that becomes available. Did you upgrade to iOS 5.1.1? Have you had battery issues? Well, CNET's got a fix for you. It's not pretty, but it may help your battery life. I'll have that link for you in the show notes. All right, if you work at HP, sorry. It appears that 30,000 people are going to be laid off. Well, that's going to hurt the job numbers, isn't it? So this could start as much as next week. The cuts could amount to 10% or more, totaling at least 35,000. So, wow, that's big. Very, very, very big. All right, let me go ahead here and look in show notes. We mostly have contest entries today. Did get a press release from Verizon. If you live in Denver, Dover, Fort Myers, Lakeland, Florida, Lake Charles, Mid-Cape, Maryland, Hagerstown, Benton Harbor, Michigan, Biloxi, Oxford, Dickinson, North Dakota, Langston, North Dakota, Atlantic City, Ashtabula, Beckress, Ohio, Bucyrus, Ohio, Canton, Ohio, Defiance, Ohio, Lima, Ohio, Mansfield, Ohio, Toledo, Ohio, Youngstown, Ohio, Eugene, and Springfield, Oregon, Erie, Pennsylvania, Lancaster, Newcastle, Pennsylvania, Northern Cambridge, Pennsylvania, Oil City, Franklin, PA, York, PA, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, Mitchell, South Dakota, Paris, Texas, Fredericksburg, Virginia, Harrisburg, Virginia, Martinsville, Virginia, Burlington, Vermont, and Sheridan, Wyoming. Congratulations, LTE is coming to your area, being turned on now. So very cool. Hey, you want to have dinner with Woz? I'm going to have a link in the show notes. All you got to do is fill out a quick survey. It's not for me. It's through the folks at Crucial Memory. Have a link up in the show notes for you on that. And I got an email here from Barry. Hey, Barry, and when I'm in D.C., I'm looking at my schedule and looking at your schedule. I don't know if it's going to marry. We'll see. I'll try to, if we can do dinner, I'd like to do dinner. Anyone else that wants to do dinner in the D.C. area, really, probably Friday night's probably going to be the best, believe it or not. I just don't know how. The rest of the week is pretty full. So I'll kind of tentatively put down Friday the 25th. In around, I'm flying out of a DCA, so I'll probably be staying in the Hilton right there near the airport. So around the 25th is when we'll have a meetup if anybody wants to meet up in DC. So, I did get some feedback on the retina implant. Hey, basically I got called out. I was made a mistake. He says no retina implant has ever been done on a paying patient. They have only on mostly blind research subjects. The retina is in the back of the eye. Duh. The procedure offered you would have been a interlocular lens, IOL implant, which is a replacement for the lens in the front of the eye. This is most commonly done with people that develop cataracts. That's true, but it's also being done now as elective so you don't have to wear contacts and you don't have to wear glasses. You don't have to have had to have had cataracts to get this done. He also goes on to say, by the way, since you used to be in naval aviation, you may be interested in knowing that sun exposure and or microwave radiation, i.e. radar, EW system, can also contribute to cataract formation, as can shore leave, bar fights, and packs can do it as well. Says insurance will normally cover the procedure when you have specified poor vision conditions. Your eye doctor can tell you how close you are to qualifying. And I see your PS on there. Very, very cool. And and I like your PPPS too there, Bob. Yeah, me too. Not for the show. I'm sorry. It's private between me and one of the Ohana members here. But Bob was actually one of our former listeners in Antarctica. So been here with us for 5 years. Very, very cool. And I got an email, too, from Joe. He said, hey, I wrote an article on my blog about Robbie Bach's recent talk at Northwest Entrepreneur Network talking about the Zune mistake. Have that link up in the show notes. Got an email here from Frank. Thank Frank. Tell me about your girlfriend's cataract surgery. Just so we're clear, I have no cataracts, but I was considering the optional surgery so I wouldn't have to wear specs anymore. And I'm not a contact type of guy. But I don't know if I've got the $8,000 laying around to do that. But anyway, that's it. I think I got some more here. If I miss some people in email, my apologies. But take the survey. Get in on contest number 6. We had a huge turnout for contest number 5. There was well over, it looks to me close to just, let me see here, 1, 2. Probably 600 people sent in for contest number 5. That was the biggest turnout yet. So contest number 6, I get to just answer a few questions on the survey, and you'll be in the contest to win. Thanks, everybody, for being here. It's been my pleasure bringing the show tonight. And as always, the show notes will be on GNCshownotes.com, but the link will be at geeknewscentral.com. We'll have the newsletter goes out with the full links and everything in it. So make sure you sign up for the newsletter. Take care of my sponsor, GoDaddy, will you? They basically keep the lights on here, keep my family fed. Every hosting account, every domain name that you buy, every time you use my promo codes, every time you share my promo codes, anytime that you get someone else to sign up for GoDaddy using my promo codes, it really helps. It really, really does. And it's a big deal. They've been here since the beginning, and no matter your opinion on the company as a whole, they have great service. They really do. And we thank you for your support of them. And we'll see you next time. Everyone take care. And aloha.